Right guys, sorry about that, I was watching something. I'm back and it's round 2 today for Interlargos in Brazil, and as you can see there's a few changes on the grid. As you can see, CYP is actually here this week, although he's not doing fantastic at the minute. But he's back in GT with his new pedals working well. As Dylan and Curtin has gone pole by 2 tenths just now, just ahead of Raul, and then he's half second clear of Blackie at the minute. But yeah, obviously Fogbold isn't here this week, unfortunately. He is unable to make it, and also Ben Gallagher is unable to make it, so he's out this week, and he's the championship leader joint as well. So 2 title contenders out of this round, so it gives a chance to someone else like Dylan, who unfortunately had some bad results last week. By not actually being here. I remember now, he was asleep. But I've got a sore throat, which is fantastic news. Picked up for someone else, I think. But yeah, Benny is here this week for his first round. He obviously had a disappointing opening round, obviously not being able to make it. I don't know what happened to him. He might have went to sleep as well, but Mocky Mix is there, improved now to P3. But November is now slipping all the way down to P5, 7 tenths off pole. So the top 7 separated by under a second, which is really, really nice to see. Competitive top 7. But qualifying is still a bit to go yet, another 10 minutes. So people can still improve. Including the pole man at the minute is Dylan for team consistency, obviously picking up where Ben left off. Obviously he didn't win a race, he got 2 seconds, but Raul has just got the pole position. Obviously track evolution coming into play, as the SLR orange team have now nicked it away by 2.5 tenths for 23.2, which isn't a bad lap at all. A very sore throat. And Benny has actually got P2 now for the orange team. So it's 1-2 for the orange, obviously. CYP is the 3rd orange car. None of the blue cars are here this week. So a little bit let down from them. But 2 oranges on 1-2. CYP struggling slightly at the minute, but he's on his personal best. His best is a 25.2 at the minute, but I'm sure he can go a bit better than that. He just needs to find the right thing as he keeps track extending, which doesn't help his cause. And he's also in the wrong colour car, so don't get considered. He's an orange driver, he's not. He's got blue. As Dylan is catching up to the back of Mocking Weeks, and we'll see if he can maybe get a bit of slipstream or something. Mocky Weeks is on some decent pace, 7 tenths off now. So Zebra's just outside that 1 second. Black November's dropped back a bit. He's going to invalidate this lap. I don't know if he had improved. He's coming to the pits, I think. I don't know why people don't turn the pits on track. Oh, mind you, it changes things because the fuel lowers, isn't it? So maybe that might be something to look out for, as Mick is currently in P5. Obviously the other team consistency car here today, obviously Ben letting everybody down with that one. Couldn't take his piss for Tilly. Dory out there is 1.5 seconds on. So CIP is now last by 2 seconds, as Dory did a 24.8. Oh, slightly back in there from Mick as he comes across the line now. We'll see what times he's about to do. Will it be a 23? No, it's a 24. 3/10 off his fastest. But he needs low 23s to get pole. And that's what Raul's got at the minute. And Dylan's actually gone purple. So he's going to be up there. Don't know what Benny can do yet, but we'll keep an eye on Dylan as he comes across the line. He's 1/10 up on Raul's time. So it should be fairly simple for him to go and jump to nick that pole position temporarily. Unless he pits. And I thought he was for a second there, but he isn't. He comes across the line now and he's done a 23.1. So that is now pole position by just over a 10th from Raul and 4/10 from Benny. As he is trying to recover from his pre-season lack of it, the lack of form he had there. But he's on a lap at the minute, Benny. I don't know what kind of lap it is. Looks fairly tidy. Black November's improved to get within top 5, which is not the zebra further back, I think. I don't know what kind of lap this is from Benny. We'll see in a second. I think Raul's following him around. He's 2/10 up on his time, so it'll get him close to Raul. But he won't trouble Dylan at the minute. He's just over 2/10 up, so that's very close to Raul, but not quite with pole time. As we see now, he's across the line. He's at a 23.2. It doesn't quite trouble the pole time. He's about a 10th off, and he's oh, Benny's managed to turn one, going that quick. There's Raul's a man really to watch at the minute. I don't know if he's coming to the pits. But November's improving on his time. Obviously he jumped now to P4. He's just nipped ahead of Mocking Weeks by half a second. Half a 10th, should I say. So Blackie has shown really good pace recently, actually. I've been quite surprised by him. Getting a bit of a tow from Benny. Obviously span early on in the lap. He'll be hoping Benny can get out of the way. Or give him a bit of a tow, you know, it might tow him towards the German drivers. Obviously former German engineer, and obviously Raul took a win last week in the sprint race. No, he won in the feature race, should I say, because he nicked it, didn't he? And it was Ford who took the sprint, didn't he? So both SLR drivers both took the wins in the end. And Black November's been held up a treat, I think. As Raul comes across the line and he doesn't improve. About 2/10 off. But he'll have another go at it. How long's left in qualifying? About 3 minutes. So it's a last chance saloon for Raul, really. Because I think Dylan's got this one wrapped up. Tim Benny's probably got one lap. So we'll see what the set time is like. He's just a little bit off his own time, so about 300ths. Also see why Pete can he get out of last place. He hasn't managed to beat his 25.2 yet, which is fairly concerning for him. But he's got engine damage, so I doubt he'll be beating it. But what can Raul do? Can he end the lap strong and claim pole position? Or will he be seen in second, well third this time round actually, because Benny's nipped him by not a lot at all. As he's actually going purple going into last corner by half a 10th. And so can Raul, at the death, nick pole position away from Dylan from team consistency? This could be crucial for Raul. If he gets pole position, that could make all the difference in the race. Can he? As he crosses the line now, can he get into the 22s? And he gets pole position, not quite in the 22s, but by 600ths, and he crashes the car over the line. And I would be crashing the car over the line as well, as he takes pole position away from Dylan Curtin in there in the end by 600ths. Benny in third. Mocking Weeks manages to get Black November for fourth. So that's a good qualifying from Mocking Weeks. Mick in fifth. He's still improving, so maybe he can get a last lap in. I think so, he can. Although he's sliding the car all over the show. And he's about a second down on the actual pole lap. CYP will be starting last, I can tell you, on his return to the GT League. Obviously he was dominating Season 1, and Mick's got all out of shape there. And I've ruled Dylan out already, but he's on the lap, and I think he's slowed down actually. I think he's given up. I think he's realised that Raul's beating him fair and square on his last attempt. Everybody's going slow now, but Black November's last run wasn't good enough, and Mick didn't manage to get Black November either. He didn't even get within a second of pole, did Mick? So the top 5 are in a second of pole, but it's really the top 3 that are in 2/10 of each other, with a really impressive time of a 23.0 from Raul, and then it's 23.1 and then a 23.2 from Benny. All within 2/10 of each other, so it should be a great race. I mean, these 3 are similarly on pace, it seems. I think Dylan has the upper hand on race pace, I reckon, but Raul nipped it in qualifying in the end. So, without being biased, I think probably Dylan might actually be the favourite for this one. I know Raul's on pole, but it's going to be difficult. It depends what team tactics are used, or I know I haven't put any team tactics. So, wait, is Benny not running the team colours? He took the logo off the car. He has. He's took the logo off the car. Cheeky bastard. As we go to 5 red lights, as I can't see them whatsoever. As I'm stuck with one camera angle again. As we're going into turn 1, it looks like Benny's trying to get the jump on Raul. And into turn 1, it looks like Raul's run mine, and so is Benny. Raul's had to take avoiding action. And I think Dory can't start, and CYP also can't start. So I'm expecting a restart. So Raul would be quite lucky there. He got a 4-second penalty, and I think Dylan would have had them both. But restart obviously, because 2 cars couldn't start on the grid and they just sat there. Rocky. So we'll hopefully get a restart pretty prompt. So it was an eventful start to turn 1, but it looks like we're going to get a restart, obviously, because which gives us another chance to have a really good start into turn 1. Obviously Blackie, who's off the lobby now, but CYP got stuck on the grid, and so did Dory. So it's a good job them 2 are last, because then at least if they get stuck on the grid, no one can crash into them. I suppose that's a positive between them 2. But everyone gets a second bite of the cherry. Waiting for Monkey Meat to set the grid up. I think he's doing that now, to be fair. Which Dylan were they on about back November or Dylan Curtin? Mocking's actually forgot to do the grid. Oh dear. Wait for Benny to set the grid. Not Mocky Mixers, but Benny. And hopefully we can get underway and get this over with. Well, underway, hopefully. Not over with. But everyone will be on tight schedule, especially CIP is finished. So 2 hours time, it's like 11:30 for him. So, no surprise he's not winning. But we're starting again. Hopefully we can get away. I don't think the Zebra's meant to be 8th, but you know, that's okay. Well, at least we can change camera angle this time. As you can see the lights at the front of the grid. Over there, you can see them, look. And we'll see them go out in a second. For the start of round 2 of season 5. We're still waiting for them, we're still waiting for them. Can everyone get away this time? Lovely. CYP gets a very slow start at the back. But everyone gets away this time and going into turn 1. We're going to go on board with Dylan. It looks like there's a bit of contact there with Benny, who's gone to Narnia and decides to take evasive action. He will get a penalty for that, but he had to take the evasive action to avoid any contact. So although it doesn't look like he's got a penalty so far, which is quite scary really. It's Raoul and Benny are going side by side into turn 2 and 3. And it looks like Raoul is being able to get the lead off of Benny, with Dylan just in behind. So as expected, the top 3 are going through it. Hammer and Tom, and Dylan just in behind there with Mocky Meeks, Black November, the other Dylan, and Mick. But we're going to focus on the battle up front as we go on board with Dylan Curtin, who spins it a little bit on the curb there, trying to get the power down in 3rd gear, and he's going into what is, I don't know what that corner is, but it looks like Raoul's starting to build up a little bit of a gap as they're sliding all over the place on lap 1. But the top 2 are both SLR orange guys, and behind him is team consistency of Dylan, with Mocky Mix in behind, Black November, Mick just not being able to keep up. But the top 5 are all together so far until lap 1, as Raoul sets the fastest lap going into turn 1 now, with a brilliant view from Black November, should I say, as we see all the cars jostling for position all up ahead. It looks like Raoul's starting to build up a little bit of a gap, as I'm reporting someone apparently on YouTube. But we're just looking at the cars ahead. It looks like the 2 orange guys are starting to pull away slightly as Black November gets on the curb, which sends the car a little bit wide. But yeah, it starts to spread out slightly onto lap 2, but only one mistake can make a difference. Between her and Zero, as Mick closes up a bit. CYP's actually made some moves. I don't know if he's got any damage. He doesn't got any damage. It looks like Dory and the Zebra. I think Zebra might span. It seems that way. And Dory is not particularly quick. So CYP He's found some pace from somewhere, so he's made some nice places up to 7th from 9th. But we're going to keep an eye on this little battle for the top lot as the gap is spreading out now. It's 2.5 seconds between the top 5. There's Black November's making his move on Mocking Weeks into turn 1. It looks like Black November is keeping it around the outside. There's a little bit of contact there, but I think they get away with it. As Black November now gets that P4 away from Mocking Weeks. Real nice driving from the two of them. And it looks like Mick is starting to look at these two. There's up ahead, it looks like Dylan had a bit of a lunge there at Benny. But he firmly closed that door. As the lap times look fairly similar between the top 3. But Raul is not having the battle that Benny is. So he's going to be easily he's kind of just controlling the pace of it at the minute, I'd like to think. If there's any battles further back, I think Dory's fighting back at CYP, so he might have made a mistake. And the Zebra's just a little bit too far back. You can see them as Dory, CYP and Mick actually. Mick has actually lost a lot of ground there. CYP will be trying to make something happen as he gets on the grass there, Mick, in the Norwegian against Finnish. But we'll keep an eye on the battles up ahead. He's starting to spread out. 2 seconds now Dylan's off the lead, and 1.1 off of Benny, so he's starting to calm down a bit. So we'll keep an eye on CYP, Dory, and then Mick, as CYP makes the move into turn 1. Mick avoids him as he seems to be struggling a little bit. As you can see, he's got a bit of damage actually, so that might explain why. But if you have a look, the tyres of Mick are a little bit worse, so maybe he's just using them up a bit too much at this point. And obviously there's only 2 team consistent drivers and there's 3 SLR orange drivers. Mick needs to make that move. Obviously Dory is now just sailed past, and it won't be too long until the Zebra actually catches him. We look further forward. It seems like Mocking Weeks have been dropped slightly, with the top 3 all together still, all within 2 seconds of each other. So the pace up front is fairly consistent. The last lap, in fact, the most consistent is Raul. He did a 23.8 last lap, and then 24.3 and then 24.6 from Dylan. So Dylan's dropped off on the last lap, but this lap seems to be Dylan closing in a little bit more. And the same with Benny. So we'll see what these laps are like. But I think Raul just dropped into the 24.1s, and Dylan did a 23. So that's why he's closed in a couple of tenths on both the German drivers. And then Black November just not quite on the pace, so about half a second off, as Dylan's actually run quite wide there. He's got a penalty in fact, which could hamper him further on in the race, which will allow the orange drivers to get away slightly. He's making all sorts of mistakes now, and he's picked up another penalty, so they now got 3 seconds worth of penalty, which could drop in the clutches of Black November, who's catching him hand over fist as he's trying to get rid of that penalty. And I think the orange drivers will pull away from the curtain. Meanwhile, CYP looks to have got the position on Dory now, to claim that P6 now and start to try and catch Mocking Weeks. And he's not too far away, to be fair. I mean, 9 seconds off the lead. It would take a miracle for him to win, but his pace isn't bad, his CYP at the minute. 24.6. It's quicker than his quali lap. But Black November has dropped back a little bit on Dylan, so maybe Dylan's just put the hammer down a little bit, just trying to ease it out rather than losing too much time to the front runners, because he knows he still has half a chance of winning this race. But Raul seems to be the most consistent. Benny and Raul are the same on tyres. Dylan is pretty similar as well, and he's getting rid of that penalty quicker than Black November would like. There isn't many battles otherwise. The Zebra's dropped back a bit more to Dory. Mick is in the pits. He's had enough. So he's going to change his tyres. And obviously refuel and everything. But I think he'll try and go to the end. Or two-stop it, I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is like. CYP's picked up a penalty of 1.9. Dylan's picked up a massive penalty of 5 seconds. Which will be very good for Black November. Dylan's actually span it there and they curved a little bit. On the outside, I think he just ran slightly wide. And Black November will be hoping to take this podium off Dylan, because Black November's been in good form. Really good form. Very consistent, which is very unusual for him. He would deny that, but he's in a fairly decent form at the minute. But the SLR orange guys seem to be a little bit too quick for Dylan at the minute. Obviously with his mistakes, pushing hard, trying not to avoid the mistakes, and it looks like that could be another penalty for Dylan. I won't be surprised. A little bit cheeky corner cut there. I think he got away with it. But he's now in the 24.9s, where these are doing 24.4s, 24.3s. So Dylan just needs to be a bit more consistent. He needs to out-consistent the two front rows. They've just kept it nice and steady at the minute. You notice how Raul's tyres are slightly better than Benny's, and slightly better than Dylan's as well. But Black November's are horrendous. Front tyres are anyway, so he's really going for it. But then again, it'll hamper him later. So saving the tyres is a massive thing. But also keeping the speed. Let's see what he's basically got rid of his penalty. He has now. But with the cost of Dory catching him. And Zebra dropping back and Mick in the middle of nowhere. So it's really spread out. Dylan has got another penalty, but he's going to come into the pits to get rid of it, I think. So his first stop, I think the SLR orange guys will go for another 3 or 4 laps, possibly do the one stop on these tyres. That might be the way to go. But Dylan will struggle to get the next lot of tyres to the end, depending on what he goes on. But then again, he might be able to jump the front two, so that adds a bit of a strategy element into it. So we'll have to wait and see, but his penalty actually still stands for some reason. I thought he'd go away. He's gone to the softs, which is the harder tyre, I'm presuming. He has, yeah, he's gone to the harder tyre. Turns out his pace is like on these hard tyres. He's currently 29 seconds off to the pit lane. I don't think it is 29 seconds to the pit lane, but we'll have to wait and see. But Dory's looking at CYP again. There's Mocking's actually picked up a penalty. Black November's been promoted to 3rd, but I think these Black November might have to pit early and go to softs. His rears are really nice, but his fronts are horrendous. I mean, to be fair, Benny's and Rouse aren't particularly clever, but I think the longer you can go on these tyres with somewhat decent pace, the better. As Rouse dropped into the 25s now, and so is Benny. So it depends what Dylan can do. If he can get mid 24s, low 24s consistent for the next 2 or 3 laps, then he could be able to jump these two. But then again, they might struggle later on. I think Black November, unfortunately, is a bit out of it. But maybe later on in the race with fresh supers, maybe he can go just one stop on supers. Maybe we can get him to lap 10 and then just nurse him into the home. Do one more lap after this one possibly, and then yeah, I think he'd be fine. But are they going to plan to pit this lap? Because look at Benny's tyres, they're significantly worse than Raoul's. I think Raoul's learned from Ben Gallagher, but he's coming into the pits now, which I think is a mistake from Raoul. She needs to go quicker. Maybe he's trying to do Dylan over again because he's thinking about Dylan jumping in possibly, but I think that's a slight mistake from Raoul's part, because he could have done double supers easy. His tyres are that much better. Mockimi's got rear damage. I don't know if that's contact with anything. CYP's actually in the pits as well. Raoul's going on to supers, I'm presuming. The Zebra's in the pits. Raoul's gone on to the softs. And if I was Benny, I'd go to the supers. You don't have to go to softs. There's Dylan jumping him on the better tyre. I mean, I don't really get where Raoul's going with this strategy, to be honest. As he's still got that penalty damage. He's got quite a lot of penalty actually. But he'll have to get rid of that at some point in this race. But he will be able to get rid of that one, I'm presuming. But he's jumped in by 3 seconds. If I was Benny, I'd go to the fastest tyre. At the end of this lap, go to supers and then go to the end on them, and you'll have the better pace, surely. Dylan's doing 23.8 this lap, which is significantly faster, don't get me wrong. But supers will be quicker. And Raoul's carrying so much more fuel. So is Dylan planning to pit again? Because he's got so much more fuel. There's Black November. I think CYP has blown his engine because he pressed the wrong pedal. Interesting. There's Blackie and Dory are both in the pits. They've been jumped by Raoul and Dylan by quite a margin. But Black November's gone on the supers, which is interesting because he's the first one to do that, and I don't know why Benny didn't pit that lap, to be honest. He's on very little fuel and he's going around like a granny on the something. Raoul isn't really catching Dylan. Dylan can get to the end easy now. I think Raoul's made a massive mistake. I think Benny could win this race on the supers. If they went supers, I think I'd give it to Raoul, but Raoul pit at the wrong time. I remember last week he picked his moment on Ben, and this one it seems to have picked the wrong one. As Benny flies into the pit lane. And Mocking's obviously yet to pit. And he'll be coming into the pits as well, which means Dylan will take the lead. For how long? As Raoul is actually closing this off now. As Dylan does 24.6. I can't get what Raoul's up times are. As Benny leaves the pits on significantly more fuel. As Raoul goes around turn 2. And it looks like by November actually might have done Benny as well. Oh no, maybe not. Benny's just come out just ahead of Black November. As you can see Benny in the distance there from Blackie's point of view. But Blackie on them supers, and I think Benny's gone on them supers as well, I'm presuming. Yeah, he has. So they'll be significantly quicker at the end, well, right now. But his lead's come down a lot, Dylan's. Look how much he's used his tyres compared to Raoul though. I don't know what he's doing with them. Did he go over them with a lawnmower before the race or something? 'Cause it seems like he's using them very quickly. 27.7, but Raoul's done a 23. That's not right. 24's flat. So 7/10 that lap. It's interesting to see what Benny can do with these fresh tyres. Black November's done 24s and 26s after that. I think he just made a mistake. We can't really afford to. He's not really gonna. I don't think he's gonna catch 15 seconds anyway. Benny might have half a chance if he can find some pace. But maybe Dylan has made a slight mistake by pitting too early. Because Raul just seems quicker. But what looked like a certain SLR 1-2 doesn't look so certain at the minute. As Benny looks to be setting the fastest lap. And he's pushing Dylan into a point where I think Dylan has to pit again. I think he's made a mistake on the fuel. Or couldn't fuel it high enough or something, I don't know. But I think Benny's going to set the fastest lap here. No, he was a 10th off. But he did a 23.9, Raul did a 24 flat, and then Benny did a, Dylan did a 24.3, but he's gone purple in that sector there. But he's needing to, because Raul is pushing him along, but he's using his tyres up. A lot of his tyres up. And surprisingly, there's a battle for 9th and 8th place. Whereas Mick had an absolute mare, CYP's had an absolute mare as well. And together, they're having an absolute mare. But if I was CYP, I'd stick with last place and just get pole position for the sprint. But talking about the win, it looks like Raul is about to take it away from Dylan Curtin at the minute. And I think Benny's closed in quite a lot as well, but I don't know if it's enough. He was at 8.4 I think when he started. And he's just set the fastest lap with a 23.5, so that was a very quick lap. Raul did a 23.8 and Dylan did a 25.0, so his tyres have gone off the cliff. I don't think he can keep up with this sort of pace that Raul and Benny are putting out. But the only hope for Benny for winning this race really is Dylan holding up Raul for a significant amount of time. But look at how much grip he has in mid-corner. And Dylan's just sliding all over the show. I mean, could he just go around the outside? I think he's forcing him into a very defensive move, is Dylan. But will he defend to the hairpin? No, he doesn't move about too much. Because Benny's closed in by about 6 or 7 tenths this lap. But Dylan, oh, he spun it on the curb and nearly binned it. But he's going to have to run wide, and that's going to give Raul the lead of this race. It was the easiest move possible. I mean, he made a mistake, and unfortunately for him, it cost him. And he's going to be in the clutches of Benny now. It's now under 5 seconds off these. So 5 seconds in that many laps, he's probably going to get him. I think Dylan's going to run out of fuel, to be fair, before the end of this race. It's going to be fairly close. In fact, I pretty much know he's going to run out of fuel. Do you know what Benny and Raul has in the tank? Black November. There's no one else with that amount of fuel in the car. So Dylan probably might lose a position to Black November. In fact, he probably will lose a position to Black November when he pits. But Black November's tyres aren't looking that great, are they? There's 6 laps to go. Benny is still 4.9 seconds off of Raul. But he's catching Dylan extremely quickly, as he's now 3.1 off of Dylan. And Dylan actually comes into the pits. I think he's trying to save his race from Black November. I think he's made a mistake pitting in too early. Maybe, I don't know, rush of blood? I don't know. But he's made the wrong made the wrong call. And he's going to drop back, probably behind Mocking Me. Mocking Me to come across. Yeah, he is. He's going right now. Sorry about that, I keep disappearing. But we've got 4 laps to go. Dylan did pit. He's now dropped down, all the way down to P5 behind Mocky Meeks. 3 seconds, he's on them fresh tyres though, and he's setting lap times out. But Mocky Meeks isn't going particularly slow. I mean, he's got his fastest lap of the race. 23.4. So, can he catch him? I think he can. I think he will get him. No, 2.7 should say. But then his Black November is dropping off the cliff. So he might be actually forfeiting that podium that I thought was hitting the bag for him. It's going to be close. It depends what Black November does defensively. Raul has got this race won pretty much. He's about 5 seconds clear of Benny. It's been like that for quite a few laps. Benny's tyres are about the same as Raul's. It looks like an SLR 1-2 here in Interlargos, one of my favourite tracks, my 2 favourite drivers. So. The Zebra has dropped behind CYP after all this, but the CYP is not going to be probably getting Mick, who seems to have gone up the road a bit. But he'd be in a good place for the sprint race. Because Black November is looking at I said Black November looking at Mocky Mixer, but it's not as Mocky Mixer looking at Black November. And Dylan's got a nice view in behind, with 3 laps to go. As Mocky Mixer is all over the back. The Northern Irish driver. But it looks like Black November's hanging on for dear life. Obviously he's teammates with Zebra and just about qualified for this tier. But it looks like Monkey Mix is going to get his prey in a second. But he'll have to go and he's made it hard with Black November. He's not making it easy for him. As he sends it around the outside, Black November defends, and they both skate off. And here comes Dylan Curtin. Oh, as Monkey Mix skidded behind Black November, who's defending for his life at the minute. But Dylan, with much fresher tyres than these two, has been able to make that move pretty simply, and I think he's going to make the dive bomb on Black November. Black November does not leave him a lot of room at all, but he gets through, and I don't think there's a lot Blackie could have done. I think he forced him into that. He probably deserved it after having to pit again. But Monkey Mix has got a fight on his hands, especially with damage, to get past Dylan, or Black November. Match got a battle for the last place, but I think that's getting forfeited very quickly. Is he been lap chairs, CYP? No, not quite. That Black November will get P4 in the end, I think. The Zebra's team. Unfortunately, Zebra hasn't really got very far so far this season. In the first two races, in the first, say, feature and sprint, he didn't do particularly well. And this race he hasn't shone, let's put it this way. But I'm sure he's got a bit more in the tank yet. But I think Monkey Mix is about to make his move. Very close there. As actually Dylan's late pit stop is starting to gain on Benny, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Benny's in the 27s on the last lap, so Raul's just consistently in the 25s, so Fly High has joined. I'm assuming he'll be racing. And Benny's stuck in the 25s actually, so that's 3 seconds a lap. But with 1 lap to go, I don't see that happening. And will Black November be able to hold on to Monkey Mix? Monkey Mix has got a penalty, so that might cost Black November, but he's getting rid of it. It's down to 1/10, so he's got rid of it basically. It's just if Black November can hold on with his tyres being as dead as, I don't know, as a dodo. And judging by the way Monkey Mix is struggling, trying to force something to happen, I don't think it will happen. And despite Benny's struggles, it looks like he's going to hold on in the end. 7.6 seconds is a lot bigger gap than I thought it might be in the end for Raul. But he's going to claim his second feature in 2 weeks, so he looks like he's starting to run away with it. But he's trying to build up a biggest gap as possible, because I think he can't make some weeks while he's here. But Monkey Mix will have to probably concede to Black November as Raul come across the line there to win the race, but we're going to have a look in the last corner. Will Black November be able to hold on? And it doesn't look like Monkey Mix, even with a bit of slipstream, is going to make something happen. Dylan in the end managed to get P3. It didn't look likely at some points, but he managed it. And Benny's last lap was a 27.7. Jesus. Black November got 4th. Monkey Mix with fastest lap as well. I think he gets a point for that, but he's P5. Dory P6. Mick P7. Zebra P8, and a pretty miserable race for CYP on his return, but I'm sure he'll only get better as the season gets on. Because he's better than this, I think. Because he'll come out in P9 and take sprint pole. Because he didn't even get laps actually. So not too bad. Adam decided to ring me in the qualifying. While streaming in fact. What's the word I'm looking for? Commentating there. I'm just gonna go to the toilet because I'm drinking a lot because I've got a sore throat. Yeah, the tyre wear was awful. I think everybody is ripping CYP at the minute. You got a lot of stick. got a slight problem. We've lost CYP. I don't think he knows it's a sprint race. As he isn't actually here. He went straight off. I didn't actually realise he went off to her. Is it in the chat? CYP left the runway. He left straight away after the race. Oh well, we've had two drivers, we might be able to do something, but they'll be starting at the back. I think Mick will be on pole. For team consistency, if I'm not correct, or Zebra actually. One of them two, I can't remember which one. I'll be surprised if there was actual pit stop in this race, because the way the tyre wear is. My voice is literally dying. I think I know what was last. Are we doing the grid? Benny on pole? Is that right? Why is Fly High on pole? Anyway, Fly High isn't meant to be on pole, but he is. Zebra, then Mick, Dory, Mocking Weeks. I just thought it was Zebra or Mick anyway, but you know. Dylan, Benny, and Raul in dead last on his own. Look how far he is off everybody else. Yeah, this should be interesting. Who will come out on top in this sprint race? Nobody knows. As we go further forward up the grid, and it's I think Fly High's dropping back to last, realising that he's meant to be last. I wouldn't be doing that. I tell you, I'd be going for the win straight off the bat. But it looks like he's slipped down to back. Dory has made a massive error, and that's going to slip him back. Oh, Black November. It's pinball in there, and Black November's got damage. I thought he'd learned from the first incident. I think Dylan Curtin's going to make a right old move at it. And here comes Benny. Raul's a bit too far back. There you go, Benny down the inside of Black November. I don't think Black November knows he's there. He's not given much room, but Benny squeezes by to try and keep up with the Curtin. And Mocking Weeks as well is very much in danger in this race. The Zebra still leads from Mick. But, oh, Mocking Weeks gets all that shape on the exit there, but just about survives. But it looks like Mick is starting to put the pressure on now, realising that he has to get on the road if he wants to win this race, because Dylan is quick, and Benny is very, very quick indeed as well. And Raul's keeping up quite nicely as well, and he's the quickest guy in the field at the minute. He's in some super form, and he hasn't picked up any damage either. But November will fall like a stone. Fly High will struggle because he went backwards, and Dory as well. But it looks like Mick and Zebra are going at it for the lead of the race, and it looks like it's going to be Mick's by the end of the straight. But the Zebra is trying to just hold it around the outside, and it seems to have worked so far. But has it gone deep? No, he's kept it on track, so Mick just went conservative. The curtain is starting to reel in mucking weeks, slowly but surely, but it's becoming a little bit of a fight here in Interlargos as Benny is making it 5-car scrap. Going into lap 3, it should be very interesting indeed, with his teammate Raul in there, and then I think that'll be it, 6th. As Dylan is trying to make his move. Mick's still stuck behind the Zebra. He doesn't seem to be able to make anything happen. Or is he run wide? Is he getting contact? I think the Zebra's lost the car though, and that has gifted Mick the lead, and he's going to just fall backwards all the time. I think, unfortunately, the two SLR guys are a bit too far back, but Dylan might be able to get him as well into the. As they get all jostling for position. The Zebra's going for the inside of Mucking Weeks, and he's holding the inside really nicely actually for Dylan. And Dylan, oh, look at him, how much does he have to be boxed in? I think he's just going to give him the line here. Well, the Zebra's got a bit of pulling power there around the outside on the Zebra there, as it looks like he's going down the inside. Dylan brakes so much more later and is able to get that position. That's Dylan up into P3, and this could be his second podium. It could be his win actually as well, if they're not very careful here. There's Benny still in P5 and Raul in P6. They've got to make positions, these two, to keep up with Dylan. Obviously they're his rival in this race. But November's just in behind with Fly High and Dory's struggling in last. But that's not really the battle, as Raul sends it down inside of Benny. There's a little bit of contact, as it looks like Zebra has got out of the way of this. Obviously he's seen the battle and thought, nah, can't be bothered. And, he's going backwards. Oh! Benny has gone into the back of Raul, and they've both picked up damage, and that is clumsy. As the two SLR guys come together. So from what was 1-2, it looks like we're going a little bit further back in this one. But Raul might be able to make the move. Oh, there's contact again between them two. Benny going deep, and this is getting extremely scrappy, which will allow Black November to come in to the fight. But it looks like Mick is leading for team consistency, but how consistent is he? Well, he has in pace, he lacks in consistency is his profile, so we'll see what he lacks this time round. But Dylan looks to be closing in. The lap times are fairly similar, but with 3 laps to go, anything can happen in a sprint race. There's Raul run wide there. Let's go Benny to close in a bit. Van November's pushing them along. Zebra's managed to spin, I think. But it's holding on a bit of a train now. There's the top 3 have really got away. Mucky Meek, Dylan and WRC Mick. Who will win? It's 3 different constructors on the podiums a minute. There's Mucky Meek's did a 25.5, Dylan did a 24.7, and then Mick's done a 24.6 again, which is what he needs to do really. He needs to really keep that pace up. His tyres are a little bit worse than Dylan. Oh, what you think about it? I just said that Dylan and Mick are in different teams there, but they're not. They're in the same team. So it's a 1-2 for team consistency in a minute actually, unless Mucky Meeks can do something about it. I think over the whole thing, the SLR team will pick up more points, just about. Obviously, the feature race is worth more than the sprint. I think 10 points for the sprint win, 15 for the feature. For 1-2, you know. be exactly the same. Raul's actually got the fastest lap as well early on in the race. So I don't know if that's a point, I can't remember off the top of my head. Might change it for this year, I can't remember. I don't think we do actually have that point for fastest lap, thinking about it. But Mockinmeeks is doing a really good job keeping up with Dylan. He's keeping his tyres a lot better, I think. Well, slightly better. The Zebra has given up the Ghost. As it looks like Mockinmeeks actually closer to making the move on Dylan than Dylan is on Mick. Dylan actually was faster than Mick on the last lap and he's going even faster. But Mockinmeeks did a 24.1 on the last lap, which is very quick. The top three carry on battling. Well, slipstreaming each other along as Dylan looked like he was going to make a move on his teammate there. But Mockinmeeks the same in the same breath there. They're separated by 8 tenths, even though it looks like 3. Will Mockinmeeks make a bit of a dive bomb? He looked at it, he looked. And it looks like he's got a really solid exit as well, Mockinmeeks. Because he looks probably the most likely to make this win, to be honest. If he can be a bit brave, he could disrupt the team consistency. Maybe not on this lap because it looks like Dylan's closer to Mick. And will Mick allow Dylan to win the race for his team? Or will Mick fight it out? It looks like Mick is wanting to fight it. As Mockinmeeks is a lot braver on the brakes into turn 1 than Mick and Dylan. As this is going to bunch up really nicely for Mockinmeeks as he's going to get a double slipstream from both of them. Mick's going to be under real threat on the last lap of the race. Can Mick be holding on? I don't think he will, although into the braking zone it looks like he's going to be okay, although he's ran really wide, but it should get the exit, surely. No, Dylan's got the exit, and that's going to allow Mockinmeeks to come through as well. Will Mockinmeeks be able to make a move on Dylan? He has to be very careful, and it looks like Dylan has maybe got that one, as Mick, oh, nearly clouts his teammate, but that takes him out of contention. And that'll slip him down, and it's all about what Mockinmeeks has in the tank left to get Dylan, as he looks very close. There's Mockinmeeks on the inside curve there, and it looks like Dylan is home and dry, surely, with 1 corner to go. Although slipstream may come into effect here, but it looks like Dylan Kirsten's going to claim it by half a second. And he is just about going to claim the sprint win of what could have been what could have been really for him in the first race, the sprint feature race, but he overdid it on the tyres. But he managed to win the sprint there, just about on Mockinmeeks. 4 tenths in the end between them. Raul slightly disappointing with Benny in 5th as well, especially compared to Dylan. But the top 3 separated by just over a second. It was a great sprint race, great way to end the stream, let's put it that way. Unfortunately it wasn't a 1-2 for team consistency, but Mockinmeeks manages to claim that 2nd place and roll back the seasons really. He hasn't had a podium for a while, and he hasn't had many wins either. I think he's only had 2. He'll be happy with that. And Dylan will be especially happy, especially that last lap, which could have went anyway. So, yeah guys, I'll post it all on Twitter and everything, because I've got something. But yeah, that was a great race, and I really hope you enjoyed that sprint race. I did, for sure. And I will have to see you guys in a bit as my friends want to play with me. So, I'll see you guys next week. Ciao.